Well, good morning to you. Is it still morning? Yes. Good morning to you all. Thank you so much for being here. I do think this is Montgomery County at its very best. I'm very grateful for everyone being here. And let me give a special shout out to Chairman of our HHS committee, George Leventhal, because no one is more committed to addressing the needs of the most vulnerable among us than George Leventhal. Let's give a special round of applause to George. It was President John F. Kennedy who once said, "The war against hunger is truly mankind's war of liberation." We've come a long way from there. We now have a president who is proposing to cut the Meals on Wheels program. So we have our work cut out for us, ladies and gentlemen, to fill the gap and to lead in addressing what is truly a moral imperative. The notion of 77,000 people in Montgomery County not knowing where their next meal is coming from is not acceptable. And so it was clear that we had so many people doing this work in Montgomery County because we have terrific nonprofits in Montgomery County, all of whom are committed with big hearts and with big minds and with big commitments to getting this work done. But as is true in so many parts of our life, we end up being siloed to a certain extent. And so part of my objective in sponsoring this plan was, can we bring everybody together? Can we bring everybody together in a way that harnesses this incredible energy and produce a better result for our community? And this plan really does that, and I'm so proud of the plan. And let's give a special shout out to Dan Hoffman, Head of Innovation and the Food Council. Really, how do you do this? And he does it with great grace. People said, well, why are you putting this in the Office of Innovation? What does that have to do? Because you have somebody like Dan Hoffman, who has been doing this work in the Food Council, and Heather Bruskin, and so many people doing this work. It is really terrific. So when we first started having this conversation, we brought everybody together and we said, okay, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And we realized, let's all come together to do it differently. So I asked our Office of Management and Budget to do an analysis of all the food programs. And it was like, okay, we do this, and this, but nobody's pulling it together. We have no coherent plan. We have no strategy. And so it was time to develop a strategy. And again, one of the things that we do well is we do call everybody together. Some people have said we have paralysis by analysis. That was not true here, okay? This was a call to action that was met in a way that was really very focused and produced a report that, you know, there are times when we produce reports in Montgomery County where people sort of yawn and say, really, not so much. This one, it was a report that really makes a difference because it sets us on a path where we say to ourselves, 22% reduction over the course of the next 3 years and people feeling insecure, being insecure. That is the goal of this plan. And that is what's so terribly important, that we are going to make progress if we implement this plan in a way that all of us hope to see. The report has identified particular segments of our population that are most vulnerable, including our seniors and our children. I want to share a story that we had, and Jackie will smile at it because we had a meeting with Jackie and a bunch of other people that say, okay, where are we focused on our work with children and seniors and others? And so we called in County Stat. And County Stat really is one of the organizations within county government that is quite extraordinary because it allows us to pinpoint with incredible accuracy where there are particular vulnerable populations. And our nonprofit community really had no exposure to County Stat. So we had this meeting, and Jackie and others said, well, what can you guys do? And County Stat made its presentation and said they could pull together all the data and identify where hunger is most prevalent. And Jackie and others said, well, how long is it going to take you to get this work done? A fair question about our county, obviously, fair question. But the answer was a different kind of answer. The answer was, would tomorrow afternoon be soon enough? And that's when it was produced, to really begin focusing and drawing together our county assets, our nonprofit community's assets, that we can really focus on this work in a way that makes it so terribly effective. So my goal going forward, at least in the first year, and hopefully with the support of my colleagues, is to really address some of the short-term things we can get done, like senior box meals, okay? Really, we can do that this year in our budget, my hope, Mr. Chairman. We can also do more with respect to our Smart Snacks program, which is a program that is designed for the weekends to make sure that our children that are going home from school have food over the weekend. And we have great nonprofits that are doing this work, Mankind and Women Who Care Ministries. And our problem wasn't the good work that our nonprofits were doing. Our problem was that our school system basically had not really focused on this issue across the board. So we had some schools where you had 280 kids walking home with Smart Snacks. You had other schools where 3 kids were walking home with Smart Snacks. And so we said to our school system when we brought in the chief operating officer, and we said, Chief Operating Officer, we need a commitment from you to get people in our schools that are going to be receptive and make this program happen. And they did. And now we've expanded the program, and last year we added $150,000 to expand the program, and I am hoping we will be able to add another $150,000 to expand that program so the kids that go home over the weekend, we know that they have food, because we don't know if they will have food otherwise. And hungry kids aren't great scholars, okay? We need to make sure that our kids have all the food that they possibly need over the weekends. So we have short-term work, we have long-term work, and this is a great launch. And I want to commend the county executive for his commitment to this work, and I want to again end by thanking you for your commitment, because this isn't just, this is the least of which is government, the most of which is our nonprofit community, our private sector partners and funders. It is going to be a community effort. It's our faith community. It is all of us coming together and saying it is not okay for our brothers and sisters to be hungry in Montgomery County. It is a moral imperative that we address it, and this plan puts us on the path for doing just that. And I thank you so much for being here and being part of this great launch. Thank you.